Okay. So yeah, I was really bummed to lose that because I'm ready to stop doing video tours. I'm ready. I'm ready. But we learn as we go along. Also, I got, proof of funds and everything and all that in advance. So just try to do as much as you can. Don't wait for their decision, especially when you've got people out of state or out of the country in the time difference. They're 6 to 8 hours ahead of us. So it was just late for them. All right. Good morning, everybody. Just loving these comps. I love looking at this. So here we are, active listings. We are 12% down over last year at 1764, 12% below last year's numbers. So not overall an average, but 12% down from last year explains a lot. We are 8% up in listings in the last 7 days. So we're seeing a little pop. We talked about that going into the end of summer, once everybody's traveled and done their thing and their kids are situated or whatever they're doing, those things are coming back up. So I think that's interesting. I did see a lot of new listings last week, hence the crazy weekend. 284 pendings in the last days were down 14%. That's not surprising because we saw all these lower numbers, right? We're now seeing closings from back here, closing here. So 14% down in pendings and 20% down in solds. Just another interesting thing that we talk about, look at the $40,000 difference in average price. There were only 3 properties in the $1 million range. And then the next ones came down, were in the 800s. So we just didn't see those huge price points this last week. But average days on market stayed the same, 32. And like I was saying about the crazy offer I did, 6 offers with a lot over, as long as that property is in good condition and it's priced well. That's the other thing. This house, this past weekend was priced about 10K below what my comps were showing. That's the sweet spot when we're talking, especially when we talk about pricing things at or below list, just a smidge below list. Buyers think, oh, they're reasonable. Oh, I'm getting a deal. Let's go over. Let's go over. I want to win this. So 282, 652 in average price. Number of price reductions down just a smidge at 207. Just a little pop back up 1% of sales price over list price ratio. So maybe it's still too that because the inventory is down, we are just seeing people come in closer or above, and then negotiating down for either appraisal or inspections. Number of expireds jumped up to 65. And then we've got about 3 more people in the MLS over last week. And a pretty significant number here in what Holland Mortgage is advertising as far as interest rates. Does anybody have any comments about what they're seeing with interest rates for maybe for clients that have really great credit? I'm still seeing low 7s, for people with good credit. I'm also seeing some people buy down points. But I just wasn't sure if anybody had any.
I got somebody at 6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty qualified though, like overly qualified.
Yeah. My client that closed on the 17th of July, she had a mid 6 range. She had a beautiful, I think her credit score was just off the charts, really, really good. So that's great. It's still there, but again, it's still kind of the haves and the have-nots, the disparity between folks that maybe struggled during COVID and are still recuperating from that in terms of their credit and their debt and what have you. So does anybody have any questions? I just feel like these are the numbers you need to be focusing on. We're 12% down in inventory since last year. So if you have clients that are looking for more than a year and they're still hurting, they're like, when is this ever going to end? Well, outlook, what is it? The crazy 8-ball outlook, not good, right? The little doohickey that comes up. And then 20% down in sold. So 12% down overall in inventory and 20% down in sold properties. Good numbers to remember. Any other questions? Hope y'all all had a great weekend.
Does the 20% down a reflection of the 12%?
All this is comparing this number of solds to the same week last year of solds. Okay. So it's not even connected to any of the actives. It's looking at year over year in each category from last year. But so we went from -4 because last week, what we were seeing, on average is like 45 days, right? So if it was last week, we were looking at stuff that maybe got listed at the beginning of July or mid-June or something like that. So that was still kind of hot. We were still seeing some listings come up. So this was lower, but now as we're heading towards more comping over last year in the, where did my train of thought? Because my phone just rang and I got distracted. Hold on. Why does this change the sold? Okay, so let me back up here. The thing that this does get affected by is what was listed approximately 45 days prior.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? So as these numbers were looking low here at the beginning of July, look how many, like we're very low there, 1629. That's what's probably closing here. So that's why that's such a substantially low number. Do you know what I mean? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Shake your head.
Yeah.
But
Yes, it
I
does.
never know. I just am loose. I mean, I'm not an economist. I just like to be able to quote to people when they're like, this is so frustrating. I can say, you're right. I mean, 12% fewer listings than last year is frustrating. There's not much out there. If you can quote those numbers, you sound and appear as if you're paying attention to the market, which is what we're supposed to be doing. Colia?
And prices are going up a little bit. Average price, right?
So
Hang on, I'm trying to find it
the
here.
average price actually went down this week. And that's just because we didn't have, that's a random stat, is to have like a ton of $1 million+ listings. That's why this goes up and down so randomly. But I do think it's interesting to note like that there are, like in Allegheny County, some very expensive properties.
Right.
And so, there is still a luxury market out there. There's still a lot of, but it's small. And there's a very small gene pool of people that work those. So it's just kind of random. But I do, like to look at why these pop off so differently here on average price. Does that make sense?
Right. But the average days on market has remained pretty consistent around in low 30s.
And I think it's going to be like that because like, what class was I in? Allie, was it the Mega Camp Gary Keller vision speech where he was saying a balanced market is like 6 months or like 4 to 6 months on average of being on the market? That's
Yes.
a balanced market. We haven't seen that. I haven't seen that since I started in 2016. I haven't seen anything like legitimately sit. Now, there were nuances about that market that were different. You always held an open house. You didn't wait. You didn't hold something like we're seeing now, tricks of the trade of like listing it on a Monday or Tuesday and saying no showings until the open house on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like I try to not even do an open house that first weekend because I want to get as many private showings, as many qualified buyer showings, right? So your gene pool of qualified buyers is better, right? When they're using their agent to book the showing versus them just zooming through your open house. But what we saw in a lot of content in Mega Camp is that people are thriving right now in getting leads by hosting open houses. So if you're wanting to just increase your GCI and get more business, I'd be hosting open houses for agents like me that don't do them that first weekend usually, or, are doing them on the second weekend. So, back in the day when I first started, 2016, 16 and 17 and 18, I was getting loads of leads from open houses. I'm relisting properties now from buyers that I met at open houses in 2016 and 2017. So they've been in their house for 5+ years now, and they're listing, they're moving up or they're relocating or whatever. So, open houses are still really nice to get your face in front of warm leads.
Makes sense.
What's that?
That makes sense. It's, FaceTime. People only do business with the people that they know, like, and trust is the BNI model.
Yes,
If they
exactly.
don't know who you are and they don't trust you, they're not going to call you.
That's
But
right.
seeing you makes it easier. Putting a
Yep.
face and a name together.
Yep. Well, it's good to see all your faces. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. As always, you're more than welcome to take a peek into this anytime you forget these numbers, or if you have any questions, you know where to find me.
Thank you for your time.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.